All right, so what I'm going to be talking to you guys about for a little bit is doing ads good and other things good as well. That's my goal for this session. So who here is running ads at the moment? Cool, pretty much everyone. So I'm going to give you guys some feedback. If you already have someone doing your ads, then that's cool. Just still take note, because there's a few cool things that I will be sharing that I think you guys should be paying attention to, that you should be looking at and understanding. Especially I'm going to share a few things from Meta. I'll share some things from TikTok. I'll share some things that I've learned and applied from some really cool digital marketers as well, that I think you guys can use to go forward. What was that? What was that for? Who's going to get the coffees?
I lost.
All right. So my goal for this session, I'm going to share some of what's working right now, give you guys some strategies for optimizing ads, improving them, share some quick wins you can find, and then overarching questions and Mastermind Prime. Because after this, we have implementation session. Then we'll basically be done. So I want to make sure that, because tomorrow afternoon, we have a Mastermind session. So we'll be giving you guys a little bit of time to work through some things for that, so that we can go into that session really, really well primed to be able to get the most out of it. Fair to everyone? Make sense? Rock and roll. All right, so first, what's working now? So TikTok style ads are working best, pretty much across the board on every platform. So whether it be Meta, whether it be TikTok itself, they're going to be working the best. TikTok ads, to scale the creative, so TikTok ads, who's running, those that are running ads, who's running TikTok ads?
Can we just convert that as like a real vertical, fast-paced, changing scenes, emoji, emoji captions? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, I don't like to put emoji into every single thing of it, because he actually didn't invent that style. His editor did. And I feel like he doesn't get any credit because he came up with the style. And now it's all called emoji style. But yes, Ryan.
Ryan's not.
Ryan.
Isn't that Ryan emoji?
No, it's not. But yeah, so TikTok style ads, you'll see with the text coming up, with the emojis in it, different colors, that is what works best across all platforms, regardless of whether or not you're using like whatever placements. You can still get away with TikTok style ads, whether it be on newsfeed placements or anything like that. But the most important thing that I think, especially because on TikTok, you have to have more scalable creative than any other platform. What that means is you just need a shitload more content on there than anything else. So the waterfall strategy is something that Debbie came up with me the other day. So what we decided to look at was going, great, because it hits fatigue, what they would call fatigue, or people see it too much very, very fast. How do you build it so that you don't necessarily have to come up with tons of new videos all the time, right? Because obviously, yes, we're going to put out content, but sometimes from ads perspective, can be hard, can take a long time, and you've got to get them edited, and there's a lag time. So this is my personal recommendation. We just tested it. It works. Whether it works forever, I'm not sure, but this is what I would recommend for you guys to have a little bit of a look at. So within any of the ad platforms, there's 3 levels, right? 3 structures that you would have. We have the campaign level. We have your targeting level, which is called different things on different platforms. Right, this might be your ad sets or your ad groups on TikTok, but essentially it's still the same. This is where we're doing our targeting, and then we have our creative level or our ad level. Right, make sense so far? Cool. So where most of the time learning happens, and like this is, Facebook have definitely 100% confirmed it, TikTok kind of confirm it, but not really, is between these two. This is where all of like the learning is applied for their machine learning or their AI. That's where all that sort of stuff kicks into gear. Ideally, we want it to learn at this level, because that's what makes it more scalable, because there's a function called CBO, campaign budget optimization, which happens at this top level that they really want us to utilize, but as well, we really want to be able to utilize that. Because if we do the other components correctly, what that means is the money that we put in up here is going to be most effectively spent down here. So what that means is like kind of like pyramid scheme, right? So we have our campaign up here. We have all of our different targeting options or ad sets or ad groups. And then we have all of our different ads. Yeah. So if we have dollars being going up here, if this is going to be the best path for success for our ads, we want them to be able to distribute that so we don't have to worry every day. But then if the next day, if it's over here, we want the campaign to be able to dictate where that budget's going to go towards. This is once we have a fully fleshed, so if I was Tim and Steph and I had my really, really effective campaign you guys saw them teach, I would be moving everything towards this sort of structure and pumping things in at these two levels so that it learns a lot up here so I can continue to not have to worry about it. Because I'm just like, cool, it's taking care of it, it's splitting out the budget as it needs to be split. So for me, that's like what I like to look for, but we have to get to that point first. Sure.
CBO, use it after you find out what does work in the testing phase, then duplicate.
My personal preference, people would argue with me about it and probably say that I'm wrong, but I just know what works really, really well for, like, unless you're running a campaign for Tony Robbins or someone where your audience size is like tens and hundreds of millions, you're probably not going to get the full effect of CBO until you're fully optimized and figured out the right creative and the right targeting, which is why I always like to go for my budget setting here at this level. And my personal preference, like we were chatting to Chris about this before, it's like I like to go, my personal old school style is one ad set, one lot of targeting, one level of creative. So I can find out very fast what works. Because for most of us in the room, we're probably not spending into the hundreds and thousands of dollars per day. So whatever's at these bottom levels, they're not getting tested effectively. Even Tim and Steph for their funnel, which is killing it, making $1 million a year, they're only spending $2,500 a month, right? That's not that much per day, which means if we have all of these variations down here, let's just say that this is actually the one that is the best in the world, and let's say that that gets us people buying our $497 product for like 10 bucks. With this sort of structure, if you're not spending enough money and we're putting in $2,500 over a month, or like, let's just say that's going to be what, $100 a day? You would take 80 bucks a day. Like, this is going to be split across everything when really we would ideally love it to all be going just to this one. So the budgets aren't big enough to be able to pull that through. But if you've got the budget of like $1,000 or $10,000 a day, that will all flow through there because there's enough to go around. But this might be only getting 10 cents, right, compared to everything else that's on there. And Facebook, just because they have AI doesn't mean it's good, right? My personal opinion is most of their AI from an ad creative perspective is good if you're like a Coca-Cola or a Woolworths. Yeah.
So are you saying to put a bigger budget up top?
If you have these components figured out, a bigger budget at the CBO level works very, very well.
Okay.
And
stop that from spending like 10 grand a day.
Rules. So as you start to scale things out, you need to implement rules. So rules are applied at this level, i.e. $100 in spend and no sales yet, turn off, or no leads yet, turn off. But you would have this as a well-oiled machine so that could flow through from that perspective. But here is where, and the benefit if you do have a good enough CBO, what happens sometimes, and you guys may have seen if you're running ads or looking at ads, is that it'll say that there's in a learning phase, right? People have seen that before inside of their ads. And then there will be the phase when it's just published and it's active. Every time you make an adjustment at one of these levels, it resets that learning, right? So it'll go back to the beginning. So if you make a change here, that's either a 30% or higher budget change. Some people say 50, I'm pretty sure it's 30. I wouldn't go more than that. 30% or higher budget change, up or down, that's gonna reset it. If you change targeting, change ages or anything like that, it's gonna reset it as well. So what happens here is like if we're trying to go and increase our budget, say that Tim's got that golden $10 purchase one going there, he's like, I want to spend more money on that. You're going to reset all the learning that you've just got from all the previous leads and sales that you've just got. So it all has to start again. But at CBO, if your budget's up here, that doesn't matter. You can go from $10 to $100 to $1,000 to $10,000 in a day, and it won't reset the learning. So I've done this for a really big campaign we ran for a client. We're getting like registrations for a really big event for $4 or $5. One point I had my campaigns, all of them between $2,500 and $3,000 a day. I just duplicated one of them as a campaign budget because I knew all of this worked, and I could start at $10,000 straight away. and it was staying at that same level because I knew that all of these components worked. Slight sidebar on what I was talking about, but still relevant. But what we want to do for our waterfall strategy is that because we have these 3 sections here, all of the learning happens here. So what we don't want to have happen is too many changes here if we find a good audience. So if we find an audience that works, ideally, we don't want to go and change that. We don't want to go and move that around too much. But what we do want to play around with is our creative. So like a real life example, one of our clients, she does Shopify stores and helps predominantly females that are launching their products, productize it, probably set them up on Shopify and all the back-end systems associated with that. So we had 3 ads at the creative level. We had 3 ads in there, but lead costs were starting to go up. Right? Everyone wants cheaper leads. So what we decided to do was to create this waterfall strategy. And again, this depends on your budget. So especially on TikTok, you guys have probably heard me say before, what's the minimum you can spend a day? $20. So there's a $20 a day minimum. So anything that we need to recommend, we need to take into consideration that we've got to spend at least $20 a day on a new test. So we had our 1 campaign, which is basically to get her phone calls. We had 1 ad set, which was based on interests. I'll tell you why that's important in a sec, which was based on interest. And then from there, we had 3 times good videos, right? If she worked with Connor, she would have had 75 videos, but she's got to do that later, right? We had 3 times good videos down here at the bottom. So they were getting leads for, I believe it was about between $5 and $7. Then clicks cost went up, lead cost was going up. All of this was starting to increase, right? Even though it was still pretty cheap, she was getting a bit annoyed. So I said, well, look, the next option is make more videos, right? Make more videos to go in here. However, then she's got to film videos. Then she's got to do retakes on the videos. Then she's got to do edits on the videos. Then we've got to double check them for spelling errors. Then there's all this sort of stuff's got to happen. That's like a 5 to 7 day period at least for being able to make those changes. For her, costs are going up. She's going to be happy or sad? Sad panda, even though she might be making money off them, right? So what we decided to do is to roll in and create a waterfall. So what happens is when it gets down to here, and we've got these, and these go outside of the KPI, which I believe for her was about $15. Once it goes... Leads. Yeah, $5 calls, bro. If only you left your ads on, you would be getting them too. So what we decided to do was to create a flow-on effect. So then we needed to create another ad set, and I went through, and there's always room to optimize, right? Always room to improve. So I figured, well, as opposed to doing just interests, let's now look at hashtags. Because my personal opinion from research, from doing some testing on TikTok, the hashtag targeting seems to work a little bit better, seems to be a little bit more relevant than the interest-based. Because I can go and watch videos, I don't even know how I got to those videos, and then I'm start watching a few more, not purposefully doing them. Like I'm not purposefully going to look for that content, I don't actually care about it. Like there was a friend of mine the other day, I sent her a TikTok video on a comedian that she likes. She sent me back of a video of 2 18-year-old lesbians from Adelaide hugging and jumping up and down. Like not in any sexual manner, they just like, one was jumping and they were hugging each other. It was like a 10-second TikTok. I was like, why did you send me this video of these 2 who like, she's like, number 1, how did you know they were lesbians? And number 2, I didn't send that to you. And I was like, well, I read the post, there was a hashtag, it said lesbians, lesbian love. Gave it away. Right? But I was like, number 2, you sent it to me. She's like, I didn't even know how I got to that video or that I sent it. Because what happens if you send stuff to people enough on TikTok in the share button, it just actually pops up with a person's face that you've recently interacted with and you can accidentally click on it. So now she is going to be interested in lesbians, right? Because she's going to start seeing more and more of that on her feed because their algorithm works very aggressively. Yeah. But that's not a shoppable interest, that's not an interest for her, right? But when you go and look at hashtags that you utilize and people follow, they interact with, that is much more likely to give you someone who's actually interested in there. Their ad platform still has only been running for less than a year. It's only been open to the public from March last year. So it's still in its infancy. So we added in some hashtags as opposed to using interests. And all we did then was like a waterfall, right, where there's constant motion. These ones move up into this ad set so that now we have these 3 times good videos. So now what we've got is we've got these running. The initial leads came in at, I think, first day, I think we got leads for $5 again. So we're back and happy as Larry. But what happens is while these next iteration of videos are getting done, right, so then these new ones, so this one we start to slow, like, we still leave the budget there because I think her leads were $20 instead of 15, but we've got the new one that's rolling. So then as soon as we have another 3 good ones, they drop into here. Then what happens, by that point in time, we're assuming that these ones are gonna start to die. We're moving back again into the waterfall. Then we've got another 3 times good ones. At that same point, we'd probably be stretching her budget because she wants to keep it pretty lean, but we might go for another, because then that will be 20, 20, 20. And this one we might do video engagements and some rough interests. And then roll through again as well. So what happens is when we're doing it like this, and we didn't launch it from the very beginning because it's a pretty niche specific audience, which again, most of you guys have as well. What we're seeing there is like we can easily flow these through consistently. So then by the time we get to here, because what happens is once these 3 good ones go live, they're hitting KPI, these will get turned off, right? They'll get turned off. They'll get killed. And then once these ones are working good over here and these ones drop out, they'll get killed. And the same process here as they roll through. By the time these original 3 videos get to this end over here, and then they get killed off here and these ones drop in, we can go back and reactivate these. We can re-up them back to the top of the cycle.
Is there a limit to the amount of ad sets that you do? Is it always 3? Or you just keep going?
Ad sets or videos?
The ad sets, obviously you've done it 3 times there.
Only because of budget.
Yeah.
So like if someone had like an infinite budget, or they were like, if they're running a funnel like Tim and Steph, then I would just keep doing that infinitely as long as it stayed positive. Yeah.
How many videos are you using in any given channel?
I personally have found that more than 3 doesn't seem to have that much of a benefit. Unless if I just had $20 and I had no more budget that I would spend, I would just keep putting videos into here. But I find that over 3, again, because it's $20 a day, $6.50 per video.
But then you're creating 3 new pieces for the second bit.
Yeah, but again, being that we're not like trying to reinvent the wheel, and again, not everyone has a Connor in their back pocket.
Yeah. They could though.
They could, for the low price of $12.97 US. Yeah. Right, but if we have these, there's always going to be a winner, right? Which ultimately becomes like your control and what you try and beat. So all I would do, and again, I'm pretty bad at this, most people that I see are pretty bad at this, is like when something wins or something works, for some reason, we don't always want to double down on what works. We're like, oh, what else could we do to match or better it? So there's one video style that she has there that works very, very well. All I would do is get her to do that same video again with 3 different backgrounds or 3 different hooks at the very beginning. Like, I don't know, some people remember we had Tom Breeze talk at the Mastermind we did down here 2 down south Masterminds ago. That's all he said was like, just when you record, core content the same, many different hooks, many different backgrounds. So like if you had an ad that works, I'll get you 1 sec, bro. Like I'll record it with this background here, with like that as a background, like this exactly the same one. Like Tim and Steph had, like they had an orange background. Most of my ad testing that I'm doing for myself personally is like orange background, pink background, green background, slightly off green background, yellow background, and just like all I'm doing is changing the color. And it's like, or the text of the color on there, and you'll see the increases that you'll get from that perspective. So like you don't have to be, it's not like your client has to come up with a million different variations, or we don't say like, hey, we now need our copywriter to make a million different scripts. It's like, cool, 3 new hooks, 3 new backgrounds. Film the same thing, different background.
It's like
I'll go.
Like testing new sales pages or landing pages, is like change the headline and see.
Yeah, change one thing. Like if it worked, yeah, people liked it. I'll go Asha and then across to Steph.
On TikTok, why don't you just do 1 ad set in 1 ad and put it through the same time?
Because they go through it too fast. Like they seem to get like fatigue on that ad too fast.
But wouldn't the true way to test be like through each one by itself?
If your client had infinite budget, but you have to spend $20 a day testing each one.
But on Facebook, you would be doing one ad set.
Yeah, Facebook, I like 1-1.
Yeah, and then that's ad set budget, yeah? What's
Correct.
The winning combination for the CDO?
If your budget is over $100 a day, CBO to me makes sense. Under $100 a day,
What
no
happens
point.
if your CDO then burns out? You just duplicate that again?
Well, I would look at what burns out in it.
Let's just say your cost per lead just goes up across the board up, let's say.
Yeah, but there's a reason that's gone up.
Just market saturation, we're just seeing ad more content.
But again, that might be more of a creative or a copy. It depends on the audience size as well.
Worked out your copy and created a previous testing phase.
Yeah, but if I've only got a small budget, I'm going to have to keep testing against it. Like small budgets is hard. Small budgets is like you've got to have like you're playing with it much more. Big budgets, you're like, literally, I had 10 grand a day and I didn't even touch it.
It's more than $100 just with ads.
Yeah, and then you can see much faster what's working, what's not working. Yeah, I'll come to you in a sec, bro. Steph?
So with these TikTok ads, this is TikTok ad that you were talking about here.
Yeah, correct.
So with these TikTok ads, when you say $5 and $15, is this like legitimately getting her leads in terms of like, are they, like what is this driving to?
Yeah, so this is name, email, phone number, Shopify store URL, or the store that you want to create. And then they go through and her sales team call to qualify them.
Let's say like just because I don't know her, like the video, is it about that thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Correct. So the video is directly correlated to, so her best one is like her with a hoodie over her head and like glasses on, and she's like in the car and she's like, shh, like I need to tell you a secret, like this is how you're leaving all the money on the table for your Shopify store, like, and she's like a nice fun mum, so it's like, and then she like goes into the whole like next steps of like why you need to do this, how it would affect your store, and then it's like click below to have a chat to our team about this from that perspective.
Cool. That's great.
Yeah, so the lead gen, like as I said, we've had some people, unfortunately they're not real good salespeople, but like for make money opportunities, we're getting leads for $5 answering like 12 questions, including like, why do you want to make more money? What's your Facebook profile URL? What's your Instagram profile URL? Like how important is this for you to do this right now, sort of thing. And they were getting inquiries for like $5. Unfortunately not good at sales, but yeah, that's the thing. I'll come to you one sec. Jacob first and then back to Tim.
Okay, here's the question. There's a lot of people who's really running ads and they're all running something slightly different. Some might be running to a call, some might be selling a course or running the messages. Can you give us an indication, maybe now or somewhere in the presentation, like where would you start if you were brand new to ads like that? Like would it be a messenger campaign? Would it be like straight to?
You're always looking for answers, bro, and you know the answers.
I want to try and.
Depends on what where does your skills lie? Like Tim became a beast.
Tell me it depends.
Yeah, it does. Because Tim became a beast at ads and he became a beast at writing emails with the help of Steph and putting it into her voice, and they have a real engaged audience. They know what they want. They know what their skills are. The sales calls don't come till further down the track, which they're also good at. But the initial front end is like, cool, we're going to be really good at this. We can sell stuff without having to talk to people. Leverage that. Then go and add it on the sales call stuff as well, because their funnels aren't straight to call. Because you would need a aggressive appointment setting team to jump on and smash that if you just wanted that to then book sales calls. And it's like, again, that's an extra resource with teams that you want to run lean. Like so we're doing appointments for property investment companies at the moment. I have 7 appointment setters that started yesterday that are all doing $100 a day. Most of our property investment clients don't want to do that.
Yeah.
So we're like, cool, we have some, and they're like, oh, we want better qualified people, blah, blah, blah. I was like, cool, well, my people are calling these people 4 times a day. How many times do you call them? Oh, twice, and then they don't answer, so they're not qualified. So, oh, no, but we have the advantage of knowing how to train and get people to be able to go through that process at really good speed. And now, like, I've been able to find some good people to bring in to be able to do that. So it depends on, like, what is your area of genius from a conversion perspective, then you double down on that.
But they all work. Are you certain?
Yeah.
Everything works.
Yeah, everything works if you know how to work it.
This is something I left the coaching pretty early on. It's like everything works. Like Kim's like big on getting credit card on the phone. I don't like doing it. so we don't do it, but both work. So like there's no there's no right or wrong. It's only what feels good for you, and the ones that feel best for you. Like I know if I got my girls asking credit card on the phone, they'd be like, oh, and they'd choke up and they wouldn't be able to make it happen.
10 ups before the phone.
Yeah, right. And that's what, but like it's amazing, right? And that works too. And so everything works, and it's just about finding what you want to do.
Yeah, that's what it means. You got to choose one and actually execute it to full and do it.
Say it without smiling.
I can't. It's impossible.
I think calls.
I reckon you'd be good at calls.
Cool.
That's easy. No one's on sir.
We've got to fix that. Sounds like a Thursday problem.
Yeah. Right back to the hurdles as you, back at the beginning like everyone else.
Use it.
Yeah. Megan.
What is the time frame that video should be in for best view?
Again, unfortunately, my answer is always, it depends.
Yeah.
I've always been told it's like, there's no such thing as too long or too short, just too boring.
Yeah.
So your initial, like with everything, on every platform, your initial hook is you've got 3 seconds. So that's the most important part, is the initial 3. If you retain them after that, they're going to listen to you for probably another 10. So you have them to at least 15 seconds.
I've never been on TikTok
It's
at
all
all.
very short.
Yeah. 15 seconds is like 0 to 15 is like the minimum. Then it goes up to 1, then you can go up to 3 as well. But the most effective that we see is like just after, for like client videos, not just content, is between like probably like 15 and 30 seconds is about the best that we see.
To hold retention in the videos, have you ever found like with your clients, if it's a longer video, you're just standing in that one background?
Yeah, you've got to
keep changing that scene, right?
Or that's why they do the editing so well. Like even the text bouncing, it's like that keeps your attention, and the new emojis popping up.
Moving in and out in the conversation.
Yeah.
Important points. Yeah.
Exactly. Change to black and white quickly. Goes back. Do you have a question?
Yeah, so the starting with 10 grand thing tripped me out with the rules. Can you see, so if you were me and I wanted to get $10 leads, would I set the rules as $10 and start with 10 grand on a winning game?
So, again, the answer is...
And I wake up and I spent 10 grand.
Again, the answer is it depends, right? So, I wouldn't do that without a big enough audience size. No. So, but like, say that you rolled out Steph's top performer to AU, NZ, US, and Canada. So you got a big ass pool, and you know that it works really, really well within some defined parameters. Then you can set a rule that it's like, if by this time of the day we have not reached this amount or spent this amount and not achieved something, turn off, and then turn back on at midnight. So it's like you might have a tolerance of, like, say $50 in your ad sets. So you have 5 ad sets in there, and you might go, look, if we spend over $50, like we should have a lead by at least a $20 mark spend, because they're coming in at $5 or whatever it normally might be. So you put in those rules, and then it just automatically will kill them and then turn them back on again. Yeah. I would recommend, I'm not going to say, next week I get a message from Tim, he's like, fuck you man, spent 10 grand. But like, you could definitely start out with like a $200 a day campaign on a CBO basis and test that out with the top performing, launch.
Not my card.
Yeah. Any other questions on that before I go on to the next point? Does that make sense for everyone, like the flow through process, how you keep repeating it? So the other thing that I would highly encourage is that all the platforms are encouraging on-platform retention. What that means is staying on their platform. The least amount that you can push people off platform, the better. The absolute better. You will get rewarded with somewhat cheaper leads. You'll get rewarded by Facebook with your account as well. Like, you'll be in a better standing because they don't want people to leave their highly addictive platforms. As well, like, you'll be in a better standing because they don't want people to leave their highly addictive platforms because they're looking for the most amount of customers on there. Because then when they show that to advertisers and they show that to their investors, it's much better. Has the highest amount of attention on the platform, which to investors, to advertisers, and that's about that. I want to give you money because they're the same. I want to spend more on that process. So the more that you can look at how do we keep them on there, like I would be highly interested in seeing the difference with Tim's Steph's funnel, just a lead ad, set up to be like a landing page, the initial opt-in, and then sending them to the next step from there. to see what the cost and click-through is, whether that gets favored or not. Like that to me would be a very interesting test because that I know is one of their most important focuses. Yeah.
So that will really reinforce first like audience option, like 80%. But the landing page works a little better, but that's the problem.
Yes.
From advertising budget ROI or like maximizing, what's your viewpoint to see the property price, the also
So with like, it always interesting people say that like the leads are shit. I'm like,
there's a fake numbers.
okay, like lead forms automatically populates the phone number you have associated with your Facebook account. So people have to go out of their way to change the number to make it happen, right? Which again is fine. But so with lead forms now, you have the ability to almost turn it into a landing page. So when you set up a lead form, right, everyone would have probably registered for one and said that you didn't, right? There's information, few lines of text, and it's like please enter your name, email, phone number, then you go to the next screen, and it's like confirm, and then you go to the next screen, and then it gives you like thank you, right? So that's the process that you can go through. Here, we have the option to put in a header that could be somewhat like a heading page, right? You now have the option to add several different headlines that you can use to be like a heading page. All of these are interchangeable. You can add, as long as you set the dimensions right, you can change this to be somewhat like a landing page. You can have the headers to be like that. You can add in extra descriptions. And you can add in, obviously you can do name and phone number, but you can also add in disqualifier options as well. And you can almost use lead scoring now. So if someone goes here, let's say if you're a mortgage client, it's like, do you own your home? DYOIH. Do that. And if they say no, it's like, it's now the form. No lead. No cost to me. Sends them to another end of the page, end of the lead form actually. So you have another thank you page where if you want to, you can build a list for free. You don't pay for these people. They get disqualified here. They never submit form.
Could you flip it and have that as your disqualification/qualification to have them for free instead of paying it? Could you trick my...
Not what I have.
So you somewhat could, but so because it's no, you don't capture their details right, so you have to then give them the next step to take. I.e. going like calendar link or something else, because you're basically, this no rejects their info. So we don't get to catch that. But we can, if we have it on a fake page, it's free. I don't say that.
You're still paying.
You're still paying for instructions, yeah, of course. But again, like depending on volume or whatnot, it's also not going to optimize because it's like, oh, you're getting know that 2 hours of shit. Like, and it's not going to give you as much reach and engagement because you have time to perform.
Could you say like yes, and yes in red, and they go whichever way they want?
Sure.
Yes.
You definitely could. Sorry, a question that comes out in 1 second. But the last thing is that thank you page, right? Thank you page is just like, hey, thanks, you completed this form. Again, there's heaps of optimization you can have there. You have a full headline and full body content, and you can change the button.
Good place to go.
Right? So the headline could be like, hey, last step, or like to confirm, right? Text like that because it's like there's still one more action you can take. Last step, or like, right? Last step, click below to watch my DSL. Click below to watch my short training on how you can make $1 million on Instagram. Then 2, DSL.
Yeah, it's like click below to give you CC details.
Right? So you can use all of these to turn your landing pages into like reform these landing pages so you can do what they want, which is keep people on them better, keep people on the platform more effectively.
So with this type of thing help out people not looking into the calendar links, because I had that problem last time. It's like
It does just depending on what you say there. Because if you just have the defaults like thanks for all your details, then most people edit the next one and it's like, or if you want to book in a call, please do it here. Rather than it's like your application is not complete. Like your details are not complete yet. Click below to do this. change the name on the button for what you want them to do as well, then you can do it really, really effectively. And then you can just do it again. Like, I added 2 super simple emails into ours, which was like, hey, I saw you haven't booked a call yet. Is everything okay? Okay. And then he gets 1 in 3 people reply. And then they're like, oh, no, I did book a call. I tried to book a call and I couldn't. Oh, actually, can you just give me the price? Or we had a conversation already started from that perspective. Because in here, we're like, hey, Master, you haven't confirmed it, you need to. So like, that means we keep them on the platform, they're happy, we're getting actually better quality leads because we're using it more like a landing page and structure. And then if you want, if you wanted to go even deeper again, we could like just get the name and we would aggressively just literally just get the name and email, not worry about the phone number, and send them to a page that corporate phone number as well, if we want a phone number. But I know that would bring our costs down. Make sense of it?
About 3 or 4 months ago, Facebook brought in a little hack thing that allows you to deliver a lead magnet through the lead form, like native. Would that be if you were rocking a lead magnet funnel, would that not suggest that this would be a better strategy on platform retention?
It's a different strategy. It depends. Like, I'd rather give me the details and email to them than give it to them there. Because I went through it. I went through John Loomis one. I went through all the big ad guys when they did it. And I was like, I'm not going to read it right now. I was just like clicking on the ad. Same when I go to pages now, I'm like, oh cool, I've gone this far. I like copy and paste the URL to save my notes and just go back there later. I'd much rather email me the stuff so I can go through it. Like, that's my personal preference. That's why I do it that way. You could definitely test delivering the PDF lead magnets from straight away. No problem there. But my personal preference, that's just how I like to do shit. I'd rather get it in my email than have it there. Yeah. Exactly. So people will get it if they want to see it.
If it does go to your email, because my fear when I've done lead magnet ads is that I'm giving away some really cool shit, but it's not being consumed necessarily because they're not convinced of the cool shit because everyone else is giving away shit. But it's not being consumed necessarily because they're not convinced of the cool shit because everyone else is giving away shit.
Sure.
Do you follow?
Yeah.
I just have this like, maybe I've got a bit of a complex going on just like with my niche. I feel like they're just absolutely smashed all the time. And there's just so much of like,
Everyone's niche is absolutely smashed all the time, man.
Yeah, I coach business. I coach everybody. So like everybody's getting smashed by business models for sure.
Yeah.
Yes, like,
Whose audience is not getting smashed by everyone? Like no one's, right? Like they're all getting harassed in some way, shape or form. So it's like the biggest thing that you want to do is like, if your stuff is good enough and it gives them results in advance, eventually they'll go through it. But then again, how solid is your follow-up sequence? Selling the reason why they need to go through the download. Are you then following up with them being like, hey, have you gone through the content?
Yeah, I'm not getting smashed, but I would be. I would.
you're not getting smashed.
Tim never gets that.
Nah, people are scared of me.
Nothing.
But ads aren't scared.
Yeah.
Ads don't know.
Yeah. Tim's so tough, even ads are scared of him. Yeah.
You're on like a license, so.
Does that make sense for everyone?
Yeah.
Yeah? So they're just things to take into consideration. Like I said, I'm not saying that you have to do or don't do them, but something to think about is like, how can you use those avenues? The biggest one is that the more that you can prepare your content, the easier it is. Because again, then as well, if your content's working really well on TikTok, you can send it and use it in your Instagram ads, Facebook ads, etc.
This might be, I guess, a silly question, but like, I've heard, I don't really know a lot about TikTok, but I've heard that you are supposed to reply to comments. Otherwise you can get into some really like hectic threads, or I don't know, something rather. Anyway, this girl that you've done these ads for, does she get a lot of trolls, like fuckloads of trolls on the ads?
Oh, look, a few here or there, but I feel like people on TikTok on the ads are actually much nicer than Facebook people ads. Like on Facebook, people are terrible.
Yeah.
Like they're harsh. On TikTok, it's like sometimes people make a funny joke or things like that, but if your targeting is decent enough, like
Probably not, yeah.
you're not going to get like, we're not like, if you're like a Coles or something and you're running those sorts of ads and those guys, they're going to get smashed because their audience is super broad. and then everyone's like just going to rip the shit out of them.
Steph gets trolled.
I get trolled on TikTok like so hard.
Is it on your?
They're just running. Yeah, it's on the one I just showed you. Yeah.
Yeah.
It makes perfect sense now. Yeah.
Yeah, but if you had just like yours.
Like general TikTok posts when they get trolled all the time.
Yeah, I get trolled hard.
Yeah.
Like it's funny, but also.
Well, I wish I got trolled for the engagement, you know?
Yeah.
Like no one, I just get 0 comments. I'd rather have trolls. At least I can stir them up.
This one might be a bit clear then. What is there certain rules on TikTok in regards to like what you can and can't do in regards to like competitions and different things like that? Is there a
There's no hard and fast rules. With everything, just make sure that you discern that the platform is not associated with it.
Yeah.
That's the easiest way. Every platform you can kind of get away with it. Like, hey, we are not associated with this platform. We're doing this for our own purposes. Here are the rules and regulations. They're the most important things. Yeah.
Are there any more lenient on TikTok with like suggested content?
More lenient, yes, but they still will very quickly shut stuff down. But the benefit is that you can have an infinite amount of ad accounts. I haven't found a limit on ad account creation yet. So you just try again and then just tweak what you did and just, so first week running ads on TikTok, I had 2 ad accounts banned. Because I was just like, I'll test the realms of, yeah. I just put in your sales figures, bro. They're like, nah, impossible. So that sort of stuff is like, yeah, they're not necessarily super lenient, but yeah, you can get away with a little bit. Yes.
Two of my best performing posts on TikTok, they've actually, it's got like a speaker with the cross to say they deleted the audio off it.
Yep.
Which I'm really pissed off about. How can you prevent that from happening?
So you need to click on the reason why. So there's a reason why on there, and if you click on it, it'll tell you. Sometimes what happens if you've gone from having a personal account to a business account, your business account will remove a lot of audios.
Right.
And then so the next question is like, cool, how do I still get cool audios if I want to run a business and run ads still? Great question, Steve. Right? The answer is when you have a post on your phone, you scroll, if you click on the 3 little buttons at the very bottom, you can scroll all the way to the end, it has ad settings. You can turn on ad sharing, get a code from that, import that into your TikTok ads manager. Now you're running ads with sound and you'll still have a personal profile. You don't have to have a business profile. So there are ways around it, which means you can leverage it. Yeah, I can't probably plug up here, but like if I open, I'll hold it up as much as I can for everyone so we can quickly see, right? So if we have TikTok here, and I go to one of my posts, right? If I go to click on a post, there's 3 little buttons at the bottom. If you scroll across on this bottom row here, all the way to the end, there's ad settings. In here, we can go in and turn on ad authorization, which means we can generate a code to share this ad for a year, 60 days, 30 days, 7 days, and that can be run by anyone that has an ad account. So if you have, say like Tim had clients that had big TikTok followings for his gym, and they did a really cool video about training at Helix, you'd be like, hey, give me ad authorization, I'll take that and I'll run with it. Right? Or if you keep your profile personal, that's the easy way for you to have a personal profile, share that to everyone else, and then you still get to use all of the audios, still get to run ads. But your account technically isn't connected as a business account. So that's like a little workaround that you can use.
Every ad
Every ad that you want to run as a Spark ad, which is like an on-platform TikTok ad. Yeah. Cool. Sweet. Next is just a little bit of stuff before we go into a little short break in a little bit, which is how to optimize stuff, right? I call this a tinge of the ninja, just a touch of the ninja, right? So we're going to how to tell what's working and optimize like a boss, start and create your own strategy for what's important, custom metrics that you can use to change the game. Because let's say that we've gone and got really good ads and they're working, and then they start to not work. We need to try and figure out how can we adjust those things, right? So within Facebook ads, you can actually create your own custom metrics. So you have your cost per click, your cost per lead, how much you've spent, etc. But you can go and actually plug in formulas and create your own. So there's 2 that I really like. These are ones that I learned of recently. Like I mentioned to you guys earlier, I think they're really cool. I would highly recommend using them. Because one thing that we want to be able to measure, if we have videos, is what I like to call thumb stoppability. How many people watch past the initial 3 seconds? Right? Thumb stoppability. That's an important metric to know, because if they don't watch past 3 seconds, what does that mean? Intro is shit. Right? Our first 3 seconds needs to be worked on, needs to be improved. If they watch past that, our initial hook is good. So it's just ways for us to be able to assess the data that we're seeing, because if the initial 3 seconds is good, but then we're not getting any leads, what does that mean? Content is shit, right? The next part doesn't work. So that's what we have to work on next. But by pulling these metrics, and the benchmark is about 30%, we're actually then able to go and figure out what to improve. Because it's easy for someone to go, oh, the videos don't work. Or this video didn't work, but why? Was it the initial hook? Was it the content? Was it the call to action at the end? If we don't know these metrics, it's really hard to figure out what do we change? Because then otherwise, what do? You throw the whole video out and you start again. But how do we know it just wasn't that initial 3 seconds? If we had got that, the rest of it would have been great. We don't know that without being able to pull that data. So that's what we want to look at. The next is see more rate. This little beautiful little 2 words here, ... see more. Do you reckon it's important to figure out if people click on this? Because what does that mean? Interested, right? We've got that initial hook done. Then again, if the initial hook sucks, we fix that. If we've got people clicking on that and they're not going through, the rest of the body sucks and it's not working that well. Benchmark for that is 1.05% or better. So if we can figure it, this one, see more rate.
What is that actual see more rate?
I'm going to show you how to create your own custom metrics that you can plug into your accounts so that you can figure these things out. No one has these in their accounts. You have to use it. That's why it's called a tinge of the ninja. Just a dash.
The old thing is like cost per click, but not link click, but actual click, which is then somewhat engaging with the ad.
Yeah, but again, we don't know, like, what does that mean? Does that mean that they liked it?
Yeah.
They clicked on our page? Like, we don't know. So hence why these metrics are really good, because then it just saves us having to redo stuff all the time and be like, this ad sucks. Yeah, we're just guessing. Now I have a little bit more tangible data, tangible measurements, so that we can go out and figure that out. And then if you're doing it for yourself or for clients, it's like, great. How much easier is it if you go, cool, all I want to do is test this initial part, get that high, great. Then I can test the next part, get that high, and we're going to have cheap cost per lead. If we want to improve the videos, again, real easy. If it's past 3 seconds, and then we know our hook's good, we don't have to change that. We keep that. Just change what happens after. So it gives us more actual specific data to work off of. So this is how we do it. I'll give you guys the slides of these after, but most people, like, you know, when I review your guys' ad accounts and we jump on calls, we normally go click on columns, performance and clicks, we try and get some data. But here we have this little option that says customize columns, which means we can go and start to pull custom information which isn't available in any of these specific drop downs. Because again, if they were to give every single option, it would be almost impossible. There's so many different variables that you could take into consideration. So here at the top, create custom metric. This is where we get to use our own mathematical brains, right, to be able to figure these ones out. And then we'll be able to add them in. So for example here, we're looking for it as a percentage, because I gave you guys percentages, right? So the see more rate. I'm going to read these out, but I'll give these to you guys so you can literally copy and paste them into your ad accounts as well. So we want to take all of the clicks in total, minus link clicks, minus post reactions, minus comments, minus shares, divided by impressions. That's basically every single option that there is, apart from click on see more, because that's not a trackable thing that Facebook has given us. So we're taking away everything, right? Whatever's left is going to be the amount of people that clicked on see more, divided by the number of impressions. That's going to give it to us as a percentage. So we'll be able to pull that number and be able to have that sitting there. So we know exactly what we need to do from that perspective.
Does this mean we want to write copy long enough to have a see more, or is this just if we have long copy?
If you have copy that's longer than 2.5 sentences, you will have the see more there, which means your initial hook is going to be testable. Otherwise, you just look at the overall performance of the ad if you've got one line. Yeah. But most people should have at least more than one line. So that's the literally formula. Literally take that in, copy and paste that into your ad account. That's going to give you that to know if you've got a good headline or not. The thumb stoppability formula is just literally 3-second video plays divided by impressions. That will give us a total of people so that we can easily pull that information out. Can't get that data on TikTok just yet. They're not as functional, but this works very, very well from that perspective. So again, all this is doing is going great. If we're pumping all this stuff out, we're testing all these different things, how are we measuring what actually works? Rather than just across the board being like, that doesn't work, that doesn't work. This is giving us, okay, great. No, let's not throw the whole thing out. Headline didn't work, intro didn't work. Let's redo those. And that's also easy for people to be able to replicate, because it's like, hey, what you did there was great. I can just cut that part out of your video, do the next part, redo that part, do that again. Make sense?
KPI.
For this, for thumb stoppability, it was over 30%, 1.05% on CMOR rate. It's like metric that we kind of see average at least. Make sense for everyone?
Very helpful.
Any questions? No? Because again, you can go and play with any of your own formulas in there. If you think something's important to you, you're like, I want to know this. You can go and figure it out. You have, as you guys would see on here, like everything here is like included. You can go and create your own custom ones. They're just two that I think will give you indications on, is my stuff being liked or not liked? If it is, great, do more of it. If it's not, great, change it. But at least now we have a reason rather than being like, didn't work, that sucked. It's like we've got more specifics. And then you can just add it to your dashboard. So then here you just literally go tick, 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 what you want to create. Add them in, and away you go. You just literally add them into your campaigns, and they'll always be there as an option. If you save it, you'll be able to see those, and then every time you log in, you don't have to go through it every single time. Save there, sits there, happy days.
What's your CRD there?
It's conversion rate. It's a different metric. It's top secret. Can't tell you that, bro. Nah, it's literally like for those that if you're not tracking conversions, like as a bidding type, it's a very easy way to track conversion rate on the page. So you basically can see your landing page conversion rate without having to go in and figure out the math.
What's the formula for that?
It's super simple. It's just like page views divided by the custom conversion that you would have.
Page views divided by purchases.
Yeah. I didn't put that one because I know it's cool.
Good hack. Oh man, I'm right.
Lucky we've got an implementation session. Next quick win, UGC creators and actors. Scalable campaigns without you. So for me, I was like, we're doing some stuff with a brand that's not us. And I'm like, I'm not the expert in this. I don't want to be in front of it all. Like it doesn't kind of make sense. Who do I get to say this stuff? So UGC creators basically are paid actors. There's plenty, I've got a couple of really good UGC groups where you can literally go, hey, I want you to say this about this product or this about this service. Obviously be ethical. Don't be like, yeah, Jacob made me a billionaire overnight. Like it has to be like tangible. Like, so for me, I come up with like mini VSL scripts to use on Facebook. I want people to talk about stuff. And then I can hire a 20-year-old, 25-year-old, 35-year-old, 45-year-old, lady, man. Test those against all different audiences. So you can hire a UGC actor, which is what I would prefer them to be called, an actor rather than a creator, because they're just literally reading off a script and doing what I would ask them to do. They'll do whatever background you want, what hair and makeup you want, tonality you want, they'll do all of that for you. And for a video that will be less than a minute, it's about $100. You go, hey, I want you to record this for me. I want you to record yourself going through my app, flicking through it and saying how amazing it is, and then show the phone the app or screen record the app and make the video for me. Yeah. So, and you can, like, if you pay a little bit more, they will also edit it, unless you've got your own editors. But I just get it raw and our editors edit it. And I just go, I want you to say this. And then I was like, do you know any guys? And then one chick was like, oh, my brother will happy to do it. He's like a gamer and loves talking to camera. I'm like, cool. How old is he? And she's like, 30. I'm like, perfect. That's what I want. Same thing. Get a guy to do it, edit it, and then play with it. So then it's like, for creative to use on different platforms, you don't have to have you do it. Again, if you're someone who sometimes gets a little bit nervous on camera and you're like, oh, like I have to do so many takes, hire an actor to do it.
With UGC, I mean, obviously this is great because obviously people trust it from the word of mouth of other people, right? That's why it works. But is there a concept of UGC where you use people who do have an audience, or is that still influencer marketing? What's the difference?
Definitely still the same. So the original UGC was based on that. User-generated content would be like, cool, I'm going to put Steph through my course. You film how amazing it is after. you can still do that as well, and you can find them in these groups, and you can literally be like, I want people with this many followers, I want you to post it on your profile first. You must have minimum 5,000 on TikTok, on Instagram, this sort of audience, etc. You can still do that as well. But so, for example, for me, I was like, I just wanted to use this ads, and I can't be bothered filming them myself or putting like putting a blonde wig on and doing it myself.
Where do you find these people?
So I'll give you guys a link to the Facebook groups. There's like there's like 3 or 4 really big Facebook groups. And be prepared to be bombarded because they all want work. These guys are all like location independent freelancers, but for them, if they have 10 people like me who pay them $200 a week to create 2 different videos, they're happy. They're making $2,000. They're making $2,000 a week. So you just post in there and go, I want this sort of person, this parameters, this is a style of video, and they'll send you their workbooks. They'll send you like their creative displays. If you've got physical products, they'll do all that sort of stuff for you. And then you just pay them and straight away you get them. Most of them send you, most of the girls that I've used have sent me previews before I've paid. They're like, if you're happy with the preview, pay now and I'll send you the original file. And it's all done.
Fully scripted, you write it out?
Yeah. I've got our copywriter Elby, she writes the script for me, tweak it a little bit, send it to them, and then they're like, oh, if you want me to write the script, it'll be $50 more. I was like, that's all right, I got the script covered, it's not a problem. Script it out for them, and then away they go.
Love it. There's a website called Video, you can use that as well.
Yeah.
That's the same kind of price.
Yeah, really good. Yeah, there's a ton of different websites you can use there as well. I just like suss some people out on social media before I hire them. Make sure they're not doing anything too dodgy. But yeah, that's how you can create scalable campaigns without you, get some quick wins, client experience-based stuff. Again, don't script like client testimonials, that's not what it's for. It's for showcasing aspects of your product, different viewpoints of different people speaking about it and sharing about it, etc. That is where I think you can get some really quick wins without having to use yourself. Make sense for everyone? Cool. All right. In just a second, we're going to go into our break, and then we are going to have implementation session. I do want you guys to prime yourself for tomorrow. So if you don't have anything to implement after this session, because your ads are done for you or you've got other things you want to look at, then you have to do it as homework. But ideally, I want you guys to do this either on the break or just after if you can. Page number something, 10. You have, what is the number 1 problem in your business right now? Again, problems aren't bad, it's just things we haven't come up with solutions for yet, right? So what's the number 1 thing you want to look at improving in your business? What do you believe to be the solutions to your current top business challenge? Without sharing to your masterminders tomorrow. These are things that you think are the solutions, and then you're going to work together tomorrow to workshop, come up with different opportunities, what solutions have they got for you to be able to help yourself out. So spend a little bit of time on this in implementation if you don't have anything you're implementing. But if you do have something that you're implementing based on the last 2 sessions, if you didn't get through everything of Steph and Tim's, or you want to implement some of those ad things I've spoken about, then I want you guys to do this for homework. Make sense for everyone? Yeah? Any questions on that? No? Cool. All right, we are now going to have a short break for 15 minutes, and then we'll go into our final implementation session of the day, and then we'll wrap up. So, because all you guys are probably real hungry, there's some